Hi there everybody, David here, and I never thought that I'd be saying this, but we're going on back to Kirkin Island. Again. That's right, because Atelier Ryza is back as a whole with the trilogy bundled together into one huge fancy package called Atelier Ryza, the Secret Trilogy Deluxe Pack. And look now, I know what you're thinking. You're saying, hey, but David, we already bought these 3 games. What's the point in buying them again? Well, that there is the question that I want to answer, because this isn't just kind of like a bundle of them all 3 together, it's much more of something like a director's cut, with a ton of new content and even new playable characters too. But not only that, I also have a giveaway for my subscribers too, where you can enter to win your very own digital copy for the PC, so be sure to stick around and subscribe for that, because I definitely do think that's worth a sub as you come and you level on up with me. Thank you so much for your sub, your like, and your hype. It helps me out a ton. And now, let's go on back to the island and see what our favorite hobbledehoys are up to. So first, let me just go ahead and give you like a quick and brief, dirty overview before we get into like the meat and potatoes of the changes. Because this deluxe pack has brand new characters, brand new episodes, scenarios, story sequences, and even quality of life upgrades that add all new life to these old adventures, and definitely make them the definitive way to play. So whether you're a first-timer or a returning Ryza veteran, there is something for you here. But for those of you who never played it in the first place, let's talk about why this trilogy even matters. Because Atelier Ryza didn't just like revive the Atelier series, it straight up saved the Atelier series. I personally began playing this series back in the PS2 era, back when they were first released here in America, with Atelier Iris and Mana Chemia, and those were some of the best RPGs on the system. Then the PS3 years came and oh boy, things went downhill fast. We got the mainline games that were filled with time limits, smaller worlds, and crafting systems that felt about as fun as doing your taxes, and was about as complicated as a calculus test. Atelier was on the verge of extinction, but everything changed whenever Ryza dropped, as well as her thighs. Suddenly, Gus remembered what fun was. Now we got bigger maps, no time limits, and characters that didn't feel like they were auditioning for some weird sort of dating sim. It just felt alive again. The battle system got a lot more frantic and a lot more dynamic, and the story felt grittier and just more real. And Ryza herself became a symbol of how to reboot a JRPG series the right way. Not by like changing everything like some series do all the time, but by instead modernizing what worked. But that was way back 6 years ago in 2019. And now, time has passed and the whole trilogy is complete. Ryza is all grown up, and this deluxe pack is the definitive edition of her entire journey. Think of it as to kind of like what the original Final Fantasy XII was, as opposed to the Zodiac Age edition. There's just so much more added content here. So here's the gist. Tomorrow the trilogy is releasing for the PS4, PS5, Switch, Switch 2, and PC, digitally only, in North America. However, you can get it physically over on PlayAsia, and I will have links to that in the pinned comment. And it does bundle the 3 Ryza games together, along with new additions that flesh out the story and make the worlds all feel a lot more connected. And I'm not just talking about like costumes and weapons and things like that. We're getting actual new playable characters, extra story content, brand new areas to explore, and tons of small tweaks that makes replaying these games a whole lot smoother. And of course, if you do already own the originals, brace yourself, because there ain't no upgrade path. That's right, if you do want this new content, you're rebuying the whole trilogy. And I gotta be honest, that honestly just sucks. However, if you've never played the series, this is the best possible entry point to play them. It is the full complete story, with every single DLC and bonus included, and it's all finally bundled together instead of being like spread across 3 different separate eShop pages and a billion different costume packs. So let's go over what's actually new here. The very first game now includes Agatha, Kilo, and Romy as fully playable characters, not just like quest givers or people that you just talk to. And not only do they join the party, but there are brand new story episodes that run parallel to the main plot, which actually bridges the gap between Ryza 1 and 2. meaning that we finally get to see what these characters were up to and doing while Ryza was like sneaking out into the Forbidden Ruins. This just does a great job of tying the whole trilogy together and making the world just feel a bit more consistent. Then, over in the second game, Empo and Lila join up with the gang, which is pretty sweet, because they were absolute powerhouses at the first time around, and now you can finally take them into battle instead of just like watching them lecture you about the dangers of alchemy. There's also a completely new episode featuring them reuniting with Ryza in the royal capital, exploring a brand new region, and filling in even more world lore that wasn't there before. Then, in the final game, this has been given like a little bit of like a victory lap, I suppose, because alongside the original cast, Clifford, Ciri, and Kilo all join up, and there's a new story chapter following Clifford and Ciri's journey after separating from Ryza, as well as a brand new island to explore, complete with new ruins, monsters, and of course, more alchemy materials to hoard. On top of that, the entire trilogy has a custom combat mode that lets you design your own battles. You pick the monsters, you pick their levels, and their combinations. It's basically like a training mode for your favorite team setups, or a way to like challenge yourself if you've already steamrolled everything. And, as expected, every single piece of DLC ever released for the entire trilogy is included here. The costumes, the maps, the background music packs, the weapons, the accessories, it's all here. There's no more like wondering which swimsuit pack you missed 2 years ago to make Lentless look even better. Now, this part might not sound too flashy, but it's arguably the most important. Each of these games have been tweaked to run better and flow smoother than before too. The fast travel menus have been cleaned up, all the load times have been reduced, the item management has been improved, the combat UI is cleaner, the alchemy skill trees have been reorganized for easier recipe discovery. They even improved the camera angles and the lighting in the cutscenes, which is a subtle but noticeable difference. The whole trilogy just looks a lot more cohesive now, like it was built as like a single package, instead of built as 3 separate releases. But let's be honest here. Is this actually worth buying again if you've already played the games before? I guess that just really depends on how much you love these characters and this world. If you're like a die-hard Atelier Ryza fan who wants to see every single extra conversation, all the different side quests, and every possible team composition, then yeah, this is absolutely for you. It's like the Final Fantasy IV for you, where I bought it on the SNES, then the Game Boy Advance, then the PSP, then again on the PlayStation 1, like, you gotta do what you gotta do. But if you've never played them before, then this is also the perfect opportunity to jump right on in and see what it's all about. However, if you're just here for the story and you've already rolled the credits on all 3, then you're not missing any sort of like world-shattering revelations. The new chapters are meaningful, don't get me wrong, but they're not massive. Think of them as like extended endings or what happened next episodes. They're fun and satisfying, but they're not essential unless you're like super invested. And yeah, also, the lack of an upgrade path really just stings. I get it. I don't like double dipping either. But at least this time, you're not just like buying the exact same game again. You're getting a better version. You're getting more content. And you're getting the definitive way to replay one of the best trilogies Gust has ever made. And remember before I mentioned that giveaway? Well, here's how you can enter. All you have to do is tell me what your favorite Atelier game is and why. That's it. Just talk to me in the comments about your favorite Atelier game. Not just Ryza, your favorite Atelier game. Tell me why it's your favorite, and I'll pick a winner this weekend, and I'll respond to you in the comments, so be sure to check your replies. Personally, what I like about this game is just how it like ties everything together. The first Ryza was all about discovery, teenagers rebelling and finding their own way through life. The second was about growth, Ryza maturing and exploring a bigger world. And then the third just kind of like wrapped it all up with a nice, neat little bow. One final summer before adulthood hits. And this deluxe package takes all of that and polishes it into one seamless journey. So if you've been curious about the series but you didn't know where to start, this is the time. This is where to start. But if you're already a veteran, that there is a judgment call that you're going to have to make for yourself. But now I do want to hear from y'all. Let me know in the comments which of the 3 Ryza games was your favorite, or which new playable character you're most excited to use, and have a good day.